All right, ladies and gentlemen, so the NFL season is just weeks away. The preseason's underway, which means it's time for our 2022 NFL season predictions. So we are going to go through everything there is to predict, basically. We're going to predict where every team will finish in every division, the award winners, the main award winners, you know, the ones you see at the NFL honors like MVP, offensive, defensive player, and rookie of the year, all that stuff. We're going to predict it all, guys. Make sure to comment your opinions, and obviously these are contingent on these teams actually being healthy, because unfortunately in the preseason someone's always going to get hurt, and that's going to change a lot of these teams, or a certain team's destiny for sure. But if every team's healthy, these are my predictions for every team. But with that being said, guys, comment your opinions and let's get underway with our 2022 NFL season predictions. So we're going to start with the AFC because it's in alphabetical order. Why not? Let's start with the AFC East, finishing in last place in the AFC East. We're going to go with the Jets. Okay, they got better. I'll give them a lot of credit. They had a really good draft, but ultimately they're the worst of the four teams in this division. Zach Wilson, he's hurt. I think hopefully he might be back for week one. He tore his meniscus. The Jets had a great first round. They're definitely better this year. I'm going to go with them being 6-11. The loss of Mekhi Becton for the season is devastating. So for that reason, I will put them in last place. Then at number 3, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. This might be a little bit surprising, but I'm not super high on the Pats. I think Mac Jones, I don't think he has a huge ceiling. I think he's kind of close to reaching that, or he already reached somewhere close to that last season. I think he's very solid, but I don't think he's a superstar. I question what they did in the draft. I don't love the draft that they had. A lot of people are kind of confused by some of their picks. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the Pats at 9-8, finishing third in their division. Then I'm going to go with the second place team, the Dolphins, 10-7. You want an underdog? You want a dark horse Super Bowl pick? Go with the Dolphins. Why not? Because they are much, much better than last year. I think Tua hopefully will make some strides this year. The addition of Tyreek Hill to pair him with Jalen Waddle at receiver, and then they have much better running backs this year. Sony Michel, Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds. Their run game should be better. They have a really good defense led by Xavier Howard, maybe the best corner in the league. So I will go with the Dolphins as a semi-surprising second place team in the division. And the number 1 seed in the division, the best team in this division, shouldn't be a surprise to many, the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills are primed for a phenomenal season. I have them going 14-3. Josh Allen entering his prime. Devastating playoff loss last year. A lot of motivation. They have some experience now. Great offense. The addition of Von Miller on their already great defense, for the most part, pretty great defense. This team is stacked. So I think the Bills will win the AFC East running away. Then we move to the AFC South. In my last place spot, I'm going with the Houston Texans. This is pretty obvious. I'm a fan of Davis Mills. I think he's pretty good. I think he's underrated. But at the end of the day, this Texans team, it's not going to be very good. Their run game's pretty bad. Their receiving core, other than Brandon Cooks, is questionable. Their defense, everything. This is not a good team. This is a rebuilding team. We all know it. In third place, I'm going with my Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here's the thing, guys. The Jaguars, they might do some things this year. I'm actually very high on them. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a really good year now that he has an actual NFL coach who made Carson Wentz look like an MVP, and that is, of course, Doug Peterson. Their defense is better. Their offense is better. They draft, Trayvon Walker, first pick on defense. He looked pretty good in his first preseason game. I think the Jags, they have some boom or bust potential. I'm high on them. I don't think they're a playoff team, but I'm going to give them an 8-9 record. Then we move on to the second place team, the Tennessee Titans, who finished first in this division last year, were the number 1 seed in the AFC. But I think they peaked a little bit last year. Unfortunately for Titans fans, I think Ryan Tannehill got a little bit exposed. I think Derrick Henry is obviously, hopefully, if he's healthy, he might still be the best running back in the game. But there's question marks, and I just think they peaked a little bit last year. And they lost A.J. Brown. So there's things to not like about this Titans team. There's reasons to believe that they'll be worse than last year, and I'm one of those people who thinks that. So I'm sorry, Titans fans, but I think the winner of this division will be the Indianapolis Colts, who have a really solid all-around team. We know how good Jonathan Taylor was last year. maybe the best running back right now. I don't know. Derrick Henry might have something to say about that. But Matt Ryan is definitely an upgrade over Carson Wentz. This team should have made the playoffs if Carson Wentz didn't choke against my Jags. So I'm going to go with the Colts to win this division. It's not the best division, I think. I think the Titans have a chance. I think the Jags might have an outside chance. This isn't the best division. This is probably the worst division in a stacked, and I mean stacked, AFC. So that's the AFC South. In my AFC North, man, this is a really good division. In fourth place, I'm going with the Browns only because there's a good chance Deshaun Watson doesn't play this year. And Jacoby Brissett, I'm sorry, I don't see the Browns being a winning team or a playoff team with Jacoby Brissett if he's the QB all year. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, this is a great run game, great defense led by Myles Garrett. This is a good team, okay? But with Deshaun Watson, maybe they're a great team, but he's missing at least the first 6 games, maybe the whole season. So I will go with the Browns to finish in last place. Then we have the Steelers in my 3 spot. I kind of went back and forth between the Steelers and Browns, who I think is going to finish in last in this division. Neither of them really deserve to finish in last. I think they're both solid teams, but I will go with the Steelers to win this division because TJ Watt, I think, is the best defensive player in the league after Aaron Donald, of course. The run game's really good with Najee Harris. The offensive line, hopefully it's better. Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, we don't know who's going to be the QB for most of the season. We'll see, but this is a very solid, well-coached, pretty experienced Steelers team. So if you want to go with the Browns or Steelers finishing, whoever, I don't know who's going to be better. It's kind of a close call, but I'll go with the Steelers as my 3rd place team. In 2nd place, I'm going to go with the Ravens to win this or finish as the runner-up team in this division. Lamar Jackson's healthy. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be a big difference maker for them. And this is a really, really good team all around. They had a phenomenal draft. They're better everywhere. I like the Ravens as an 11-6 team and a playoff team, a wild card team. But the winner of this division, the winner of the AFC North, I think is the Cincinnati Bengals. They just got to the Super Bowl. They improved that hideous offensive line. Joe Burrow's only going to get better. Jamar Chase is only going to get better. They kept T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. They have it all. This is a stacked team now. The only weakness they had was the offensive line. They fixed it. They're a division-winning team, a Super Bowl contender once again. I'm going to go with them finishing 12-5. Then we move on to maybe the best division I've ever seen in my life, the AFC West. I don't think any team in this division deserves to finish in last, but someone has to. So I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to finish last, only because they obviously got Russell Wilson, right? That's maybe the biggest move of the entire offseason. They finally have a legit QB. But there's still question marks. There's a lot of young players on this team. They're just unpredictable. I don't know how the Broncos are truly going to do, how much Russell Wilson's going to change life there. I think they'll definitely be better, but I just have no idea. And someone I think has to finish last in this division. And it's not like Von Miller's still there, even though they did a pretty good job of drafting to try to replace him. I don't know how elite this defense is going to be. I think it'll be really good. Same with the offense. I really don't know. I'm curious to see. But I think of the 4 teams, the Broncos are probably the least prepared to win right now. So 3rd place, I'm going to go with the Raiders. I'm really high on the Raiders. If you want another kind of dark horse Super Bowl contender in the AFC, maybe you want to bet on the Raiders because Devontae Adams, that's a great addition. Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Derek Carr. This is a really, really good team. Their defense is better as well. And so the Raiders could win this division. They could be a really good team. I'm going to give them 11-6. I think they're a playoff team. But ultimately in this division, unfortunately for them, I think they're going to finish in 3rd place. In 2nd place, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this might be a surprise because the Chiefs have won this division, I think, 6 years in a row. They obviously have the best quarterback in the game in Patrick Mahomes. But the big elephant in the room is they lost Tyreek Hill, and I can't see them being better or even just as elite as they were last year when you lose maybe the most dynamic player the game's ever seen, or one of the best speedsters the game's ever seen, and maybe one of the best receivers in the league, maybe the best in Tyreek Hill. So, but with Mahomes alone, this is a playoff team. Come on, Andy Reid, this team's been there, done that. Travis Kelce, they drafted pretty well to try to replace Tyreek Hill, Juju Smith-Schuster, but ultimately they're not as good as last year because there's no replacing Tyreek Hill. So who wins the division? I think the Los Angeles Chargers win this division. They should have made the playoffs last year. This was a super stacked roster, especially offensively. They're bringing everyone back. Justin Herbert's only going to get better. He was only in his 2nd season last year. I just think this team is upset and not content with continuing to miss the playoffs. I think they finally make that leap, win the division, but bare minimum, at least make the playoffs, because it's ridiculous that this roster missed the playoffs last year. They're better. Their offensive line's better. Their defense is better. I think they're slightly better everywhere. This is an absolutely stacked team, and I think Justin Herbert is going to put this team on his back and finally put this team in the playoffs. So that's the AFC, guys. The AFC, I've never seen a year where one conference has been more this stacked or this much more stacked than another. The AFC is way better than the NFC. I'm just going to preface that first and foremost because the NFC's not as good, guys. Seriously, I think the Super Bowl winner will definitely be in the AFC. It's way better top to bottom. But regardless of that, we're going to go to the NFC. We're going to move on. We're going to start with the NFC East. Maybe the most unpredictable division every year because there seems to be a new winner every single season. So who's going to finish in last? I think the team that a lot of people are picking to finish in last is the New York Football Giants. I'll give it to them. They had a really good draft, right, with Kayvon Thibodeau. But Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, there's questions about him, lots of questions. This offense isn't that good, let's be honest, other than Saquon Barkley. Look, I love Saquon Barkley. I love his quads. I think he's hopefully going to be healthy this year. I hope he's healthy. I'm a big fan. But there's question marks everywhere. This is a young team, kind of still a rebuilding team. I just think of the four teams, this is the worst team in the division, and they're going to struggle offensively, I think, with their pass game. Depends on how Danny Dimes does, but I think they're a 6-11 last place team. Then I have the Commanders finishing 9-8, finishing third in this division. Don't sleep on Washington, if another betting dark horse kind of favorite to make, or a dark horse team to maybe win their division, maybe be a dark horse contender. But at this point in time, I personally question Carson Wentz. I don't know how he's going to play in Washington. If he plays well, this team could definitely win the division. I think they're a very solid team. Chase Young and a lot of their defensive players are coming back. That defense alone carried them to the division title in 2020. So there's question marks. They're kind of a boomer bust team to me. We'll see how they do, but I'm going to pick them as a third place team for now. Runner-up spot in this division is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. I think they also finished 9-8. If you want to say the Commanders tied them for second place, whatever. The only reason I think the Cowboys aren't going to win this division is because this division is so weird and so unpredictable. It pretty much always has a new winner every season. And the Cowboys lost Amari Cooper. Their offensive line isn't as good as it used to be, and I don't think Zeke would be the starting running back on this team over Tony Pollard if it weren't for Tony Pollard or Zeke's contract. He doesn't have that burst anymore. So Dak Prescott, I think, could have a great year. I think the Cowboys could win this division again. But I'm just going to be bold and say that they don't, just because that's how this division works most years. So who wins the division? Well, it's obviously the one team left, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm really high on the Eagles. I'm really high on Jalen Hurts making a huge third-year leap. I made a video saying how I think he could be the QB1 in fantasy. I don't know. I just think he's going to make a big leap this year. The Eagles made the playoffs last year. A.J. Brown was a huge addition. He gives Jalen Hurts a legit number one receiver to pair with Devontae Smith, who I think will also make a jump. Their defense is better. Jordan Davis, they drafted well. I just really like the Eagles to win this division. I think they're a dark horse team. Another one in a division that isn't that hard to win or is unpredictable, and you don't need to be that great or elite to win this division. So we move on to the NFC South. My last place team in this division will be the Atlanta Falcons. I actually think the Falcons will have an enjoyable to watch offense with Drake London and Kyle Pitts and bringing Cordero Patterson back and Marcus Mariota. But ultimately, that defense has question marks. They're a young team. I don't think they're built to win right now, but I think they'll be better than we think. They won't be bad or pathetic or anything. They'll be fun to watch. I will pick them to be a 7-10 team. In third place, I'm going to go with the Panthers to be 9-8. I think Baker Mayfield does make that team better than they would be with Sam Darnold, but I still don't know how Baker Mayfield is going to fare in Carolina. I don't know how he's going to play. I hope Christian McCaffrey's healthy because he might be the best all-around running back in the game. I know I've said that about a couple other guys, but seriously, when Christian McCaffrey's healthy, we know how much of an absolute superstar this guy is. So I think 9-8 is fair. I think this is a good team, fun to watch. The defense still has question marks. The QB position still has question marks. So I'm going to go with 9-8. I think that's a kind of a safe, somewhat optimistic, on the optimistic side of predictions for the Panthers. So I will go with 9-8 for the Panthers. In my second place slot, I have the New Orleans Saints. I'm really high on the Saints this year. I could easily see them being a playoff team, a wild card team. With Jameis Winston hopefully being healthy for the year, He's still exciting. He brings a lot more offensive firepower than Taysom Hill. I think Taysom Hill, unfortunately, proved that he's not really an NFL starting QB, in my opinion. Hopefully, Michael Thomas is healthy this year. I think he will be. Chris Olave was a great draft pick. Jarvis Landry, great offseason pick. This offense will be better. Alvin Kamara's still there. That defense is good. They're a defensive first team. There's just a lot to like about this team, I think, if everyone's healthy. And the number one seed in this division, the winner of the NFC South. I mean, if Tom Brady's healthy, if he's there, if he's not retiring, which he unretired, obviously, the Bucs are the best team in this division. Even though Leonard Fournette had a Krispy Kreme binge this offseason, this is the best team. Tom Brady, he knows what he's doing. The Bucs, 12-5, seems like a safe team. They're bringing everyone back. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, not Antonio Brown, so not everyone back, but you know what I mean. This team's great, top to bottom, everywhere. Ryan Jensen, the center, probably being out for the year hurts, but they'll find a way. This is the best team in the division, let's be honest. Then we move on to the NFC North. In last place, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. I just think this offense, especially the pass game, is going to be tough to watch because other than Darnell Mooney, the Bears don't really have much of a receiving game. Justin Fields, I don't know how he's going to do this year. I think he's still going to struggle, and the offensive line's not the best. The defense, pass defense, I don't know. There's question marks. They're a rebuilding team. I'm not super high on the Bears. I think 5-12 is about right in my opinion. In third place, I'm going with the Detroit Lions, who finished last in the entire NFC last year, but I'm going to give them 7-10. I think they had a really good draft. Aiden Hutchinson, really safe number 2 pick. DJ Chark in the offseason, Jamison Williams, this receiving core to pair with Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's going to be a better team overall. TJ Hawkinson. Obviously, how Jared Goff plays matters a lot, but I just think the Lions are kind of a sleeper team. They're going to do a lot better than last year, in my opinion, and there's just a lot to like about the future for this team, I think. So then in my runner-up spot, a lot of people like the Vikings to win this division because the Packers probably got worse with the loss of Devontae Adams. I think the Vikings are probably a playoff team, but I'm going to still go with them as the second place team because a lot of people like to say that the Vikings, they lost a lot of close games, so they're better than their record was last year. But still, I don't really 100% trust Kirk Cousins to win games and be that clutch. There's a reason why he loses a lot of close games because unfortunately, he's not the most clutch guy. So I love Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson. I still love Adam Thielen. This offense is going to be exciting, high-scoring offense, just like an exciting offense to watch, just like they were the last multiple years. But that defense still, I don't think is great, and they just find a way to... I think the reason why they're losing a lot of close games, it's not always a coincidence. I think part of that is they struggle sometimes to finish games. So for that reason, I think they're a runner-up team. I think they're probably a playoff team, winning record, but I don't think they win this division. I still think the Packers win this division because they have Aaron bleepin' Rodgers. I know they lost Devontae Adams, but I think Aaron Rodgers still finds a way. They still have Aaron Jones, good offensive line, really good defense, guys. They have the best defense in the division, okay? That's one thing you can't forget about, even though they lost the best receiver in the game. And they have the back-to-back MVP in Aaron Rodgers. Yes, they're not as good as last year, but that alone, I think, makes them the winner of the NFC North. Then we move on to the NFC West. In last place, the Seahawks, guys, I think will be the worst team in the NFC. I'm sorry, Seahawks fans, but your quarterback competition is between Drew Lock and Geno Smith. How can I say you're going to be better than 3-14? The offensive line is trash. The defense is pretty trash. Yes, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, I feel bad because they're so good. It's a great receiving core. But you can't overcome bad quarterback play with a good receiving core. You have a bad quarterback situation. You have a bad offensive line. 3-14, that's it. I'm sorry. 49ers finished third in this division. I'm going to give them 10-7 because they're a little unpredictable with Trey Lance. I don't know how they're going to do with Trey Lance. I don't know how he's going to fit in. They're probably going to trade Jimmy G. Trey Lance, I think, is clearly going to be the starter the entire year. They have a great receiving core. Obviously, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. But obviously, it all comes down to their QB. And when you have a young QB who hasn't really proven himself, I can't say they're going to be higher than the 3 seed. But that defense is great. The run game's still going to be great. I think they have a good chance to be a playoff team, but I think in this really good division, the top 3 in this division is really good. I'm going to give them third place. Second place, I'm going to go with the Cardinals at 11-6. Yes, D-Hop is suspended for 6 games, but Hollywood Brown's a great addition who was a college teammate of Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's been paid. He has a lot to prove with the whole practice debacle and him having to watch film, forcing him to watch film. I think he's going to have a really good year if he's healthy. Zach Ertz is back. They bring back James Conner. I like the Cardinals this year. I think they have a lot to prove. and I think they'll prove things this year. I think they're a playoff team and the number one seed in this division, the Super Bowl champions. I think the best team in the NFC is the LA Rams. They bring everyone back. This is a great team, and Odell is not there, Robert Woods, but they replace them with Allen Robinson, who finally is playing with a good QB. A 1-2 punch of Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Matthew Stafford, great run game, great offensive line, great defense. Aaron Donald, they lost Von Miller, but who cares? This is a great team. And you know how good Sean McVay is as a coach. This team is just going to run it back and maybe even be better than last year. I have them as the number one seed in the NFC. So guys, the AFC playoffs, I think the number one seed will be the Bills in the AFC. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Bengals. Number 3, Chargers. Number 4, Colts. The 3 wildcard teams, I think, will be the Chiefs, Ravens, and Raiders. In the NFC, the Rams, I think, will be the number 1 seed. Bucks, number 2. Packers at 3. Eagles at 4. The wild cards will be the Cardinals, Vikings, and 49ers. Those are how my playoffs shape up in each conference. So let's get to the actual NFL awards. Who wins each award? We're going to start with the ultimate award, the MVP. I'm going to give it to Josh Allen. I think that the Bills have a lot to prove this year. They're going to do great things. I think they have the best record. They're going to have the best record in football. Josh Allen, we know how much of a superstar he is. He's just entering his prime. He's a great dual threat QB. We all know this. I think he has a lot to prove. I think he's going to make that breakthrough and win the MVP. Only going to get better, so I'll give it to him. My coach of the year, look, the Bills already have the MVP. They have the best record, so why not give the coach of the year to the Bills coach, Sean McDermott? Makes a lot of sense. This is a great offense and defense. Sean McDermott is a great coach, great play caller, and I think he's going to win the coach of the year this year. If you have the best record, you have a good shot to have your coach win the coach of the year. So who's my offensive rookie of the year? I'm going to give it to big Drake London out of USC. I'm so high on him for his career, and even this year as a Falcon, I think he's going to take a lot of pressure in the pass game off of Kyle Pitts. I think Drake London has a big time year right out of the gate and gets his career started on a very high note. Defensive rookie of the year, I thought about Trayvon Walker, but I'm going to give this to Aiden Hutchinson. I think he's going to have more of an impact, I think, right out of the gate. He's more of a safe, high floor pick. So I think he's going to probably have a double-digit sack season if he's healthy. He's that good and that NFL ready right now, so I'll give it to him. My offensive player of the year, this might be a little bold, but I'm going to give it to Jamar Chase. I think a lot of years, either a running back or a receiver wins this award, and Jamar Chase had such a great superstar rookie season, and he's only going to get better. The guy's only 22 years old, and I think he might be the best receiver numbers-wise in football this year. I think the Bengals will be even better. That chemistry with Joe Burrow is off the charts. I'm going to give the Offensive Player of the Year to Jamar Chase. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to give it to TJ Watt again. He tied the sack record with 22 and a half sacks last year, which is just ridiculous. I'm going to give it to him again. I think he wins it again, the Defensive Player of the Year. Once again, I think this would be the second time. I think second or third. I don't know. But he's going to win it again because he's that good and in his prime, great age. Yeah, TJ Watt's the man and pretty much going to carry that Steelers defense. Comeback Player of the Year. This one's really easy to me, guys. If this guy's healthy, Christian McCaffrey's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. My thinking behind this is if he's healthy, he's probably the best running back all around. He wasn't healthy the last 2 years, basically missed 2 full seasons almost. If he's healthy, he's basically a shoo-in for this award. He's that good. When he plays, he's always good. He's never struggled with production when he's healthy. My thinking is there's no way, knock on the finest of wood, there's no way he's going to get hurt 3 years in a row, right? Hopefully, knock on wood. If he's healthy, he's the guy for this award, definitely in my opinion. So let's set up the AFC and NFC championship. We're winding down in this video, guys. My AFC championship is going to be between the Bills and Chargers, the 1 versus 3, because it's not always chalk in the playoffs. There's upsets, there's parity in the NFL, just like last year, right? The Bills are too good, so they're going to get to the AFC championship. The Chargers are going to beat the Bengals in the divisional round. And that's just because every year there's a new Super Bowl winner. It's unpredictable. It's not like basketball. You don't see the same teams often come back to where they were the year before. Bengals can definitely contend, but I don't know. I'm just going to mix it up. I'm going to say the Chargers get there. Obviously, the Bengals are a huge contender, so they could get there. My NFC championship is going to be 1 versus 3 again. I'm going to go Rams versus Packers. I don't think the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl or anything, But again, I'm going to go with some parity. I don't just want to go 1 versus 2. The obvious answer is Rams versus Bucks. I think they're clearly the 2 best teams in the NFC, but I'm going to go with the Packers to beat the Bucks. Why not have Aaron Rodgers get some revenge on Tom Brady? So what's my Super Bowl, guys? It's probably the most common Super Bowl matchup that people are predicting this year. Bills versus Rams. I really tried to think of a realistic substitute for one of these 2 teams, but I really can't. I really think these are the 2 best teams in football. This is the first game of the year, Thursday night, week 1, September 8th. Mark your calendars. Von Miller coming back to LA. Bills versus Rams. He's going to play his former team, but this is the ultimate matchup. I think these are the 2 best teams this year, barring any injuries, of course. I don't know. There's always surprises, but that's going to be my Super Bowl matchup. So who wins the Super Bowl? I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. I think it's their year. They had a devastating playoff loss last year. I think they're better overall with the addition of Von Miller. Josh Allen has a lot to prove. He's only going to get better. And you rarely see the same team win the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. So for that reason, I will go with the Buffalo Bills to win their first ever Super Bowl after 4 losses in a row in the 90s. Lots of heartbreak for this franchise, but one of the best fan bases in sports. They deserve a Super Bowl championship, so I will give it to them. But guys, those are my full 2022 to 2023 NFL season predictions. Make sure to comment your opinions. Let me know any and all of your predictions. I want to hear all of them. Anything you have to predict, I want to hear it. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're an NFL fan and you haven't done so already. And guys, I will see you all in the next one.